How are you?
Okay, it is now 7:25, and Mr. Winograd, roll your seat back. First we'll start, this is a community comment section. We'll take a roll call first. Mr. Davidoff?
Good evening, Madam Mayor. Councilor Blanks.
Present.
Mayor Cantor.
Here.
Councilor Cortez.
Here.
Councilor Fay.
Here.
Councilor McGinnis.
Here.
Councilor Pullen.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Sweeney. Councilor Winograd.
Present.
Councilor Zdanowitz.
Here.
Thank you, Mr. Davidoff. Just so to explain, this is community comment section. We receive comment, we don't have conversation, so we take, and it's 5 minutes, and we appreciate it very much. And so the community comment is Dr. Jonathan Greenberg of 21 Arundel Avenue, addressing the council on parking constraints on Arundel Avenue. And just speak into the microphone.
You can all hear me, yes? I wish it were a dialogue, because I already know what I think and what I'm going to say. I don't know what most of you think. I've lived on, first of all, I want to thank the mayor, and I want to thank Mr. Ledwith, who met with me many times without an appointment. I just walked into his office. I learned a lot, mainly about, I think, what the resistance is to what I believe would be an equitable solution to a serious problem on the street. I also want to thank some of the people on the council who bothered to return my phone call. I won't name them because I don't want to embarrass the rest of you who didn't bother. I've lived on Arundel Avenue for 39 years. When I moved there, I bought the house from Mr. Arthur Anderson. Mr. Anderson was quite blunt with me about all the good problems and bad problems about the house, and one of the things he shared with me was, Dr. Greenberg, there is a parking problem on the street, but it's over by 4 p.m. And the reason why it was over by 4 p.m. then, because the center was very different back then. It was kind of a middle-class place to shop. There were 2 restaurants, South Seas and, what was the other one? Edelweiss, thank you, Edelweiss, yeah. The parking was somewhat of a problem during the day. It wasn't nearly as crowded as it is now. Could usually find parking. Right now, my street, and particularly my house and my neighbor, is used as a parking lot all day, all night. People park all the time. I can't find a parking space often on my street. It's not a parking problem, it's a quality of life problem. And the town is largely responsible for the problem, and it's up to the town to fix the problem. When people can't park, you have people come to the house to do work on your house. You scurry around to find a parking place for your car so they can park in the driveway. In the evening now, I'm not so lucky. We're a traditional Jewish family. We like to have guests on Friday night for Shabbat dinner, Sabbath dinner. Very often there's no place for anybody to park. But all the people who go to the restaurants, who won't pay to park there in the parking lot, will park for free. Well, I can't park there. I have to go searching around, or where other people, my guests, also can't. This is a chronic problem. Part of the problem is that people won't pay to park in the town parking lot. A lot of the people who don't park in the town parking lot actually work in the town. Many are low-wage earners who I really believe can't afford the prices of the town parking lot. There are other people who should be able to afford it, people who own shops in the town who also park on the street. It doesn't just involve my street, which is Arundel Avenue, it involves Brunswick and Clifton. It doesn't involve the entire street, it involves from Brace Road until Whitman Avenue. I counted yesterday at 12:30 in the afternoon. No, that was today at 12:30. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon yesterday, and at 12:30 p.m. yesterday, there were 94 open spaces in the parking lot. Today there were 83. All of Brunswick was parked. Clifton was parked. Now, I must say I've had a minor degree of success in getting people not to park during the day. There is a 2-hour parking limit, which goes unenforced. And the reason why it goes unenforced is because the police are unable to enforce it. I've spoken to the chief, not the chief of police, but the shift commander, who tells me they really can't. Now, I've actually called a lot. I wrote down the numbers of all the people who parked there every day, all day. And I started calling about them. This is what happens. Usually within an hour, the police will come. The problem is that that's when the 2-hour period starts. Most of the time, they do not come back. So there are no consequences. I started, but just the same, because I was so persistent and such a pain in the neck to the police, I did get a number of people ticketed. And word gets around, I also started leaving notes on people's cars who were parked on the street saying, my street is not a parking lot for people who work or shop or dine in the center. There is a 2-hour parking limit. The police can enforce it. Please park elsewhere. During the day, this helps. In the evening, it's of no help at all because the parking, I think it's the 2-hour limit, I think is over at 5 or 6 or whatever. But now I have people parking in front of my house. They also come back to their cars in the evening. And they've had something to drink. They'll pay $2.50 for a meal, $35 for a bottle of wine. They won't pay the few bucks to park in the parking lot. These aren't poor people. They park with their Teslas and their Schmesslas all in front of my house.
Dr. Greenberg, the bell did go off, and we do have a full meeting.
Yeah.
So if you could wind up, that would be great.
I will wind up. The problem is solvable. You could give parking permits to the people who live on my street that would force people to park in the lot. Somehow the town has an allergy against this. It also quotes to me equity issues. It compares my street to Farmington Avenue with all the apartment buildings and claims that those people who live in those apartment buildings also consider those places their homes. They're just as good people as me, I have no doubt. But, please don't link my problem with an unsolvable problem. People who live in an urban area, in apartment buildings, who aren't provided with parking, have no mathematical, physical reason to expect a resolution. There's ample parking in the center. The town is incentivizing people to use my street, the front of my house, as a parking lot. It's time you stop doing it. I want to be able to park in front of my own house. I want my guests to be able to park in the driveway. If any one of you lived on Arundel or Brunswick or Clifton, this would have been settled a long time ago. And just because you can't find a solution everywhere doesn't mean you can't find a solution on my street where there's ample parking. There isn't ample parking everywhere over town. I don't care if you make parking for free there. Make parking for free in the center. Believe me, they won't park on my street anymore. Anyway, I thank you. I intend to contact all of you. I'm also requesting that this issue be kept on the agenda of every meeting of the town council until it's solved. I have gotten no suggestions from the town at all, no time frame about when they're going to solve it. Mr. Ledwith assures me that this is the number one thing he gets calls about. It deserves a hearing each time you meet until you solve the problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Greenberg. Okay, we will begin the town council meeting. I'm calling the September 12th, 7:30 p.m. council meeting to order, and we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Mr. Davidoff.
Counselor Blanks.
Present.
Mayor Cantor.
Here.
Counselor Cortez.
Here.
Counselor Fay.
Here.
Counselor McGinnis.
Here.
Counselor Poland.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Sweeney.
Here.
Counselor Winograd.
Here.
Counselor Zdanowitz.
Here.
Thank you, Mr. Davidoff. Before we dive into the meeting, I just want to start by thinking about the incredible tragedy that is happening in Morocco. Friday night, we experienced a 6.8 magnitude earthquake, killed more, as of this morning, I think it was 2,862 people, as of last night actually, and injured more than 2,500, according to Moroccan sources. The people working urgently at rescue, I'm thinking about them so much, and I've heard some of them speak, and it's just, it's so urgent that they get to people, and it's just really, really horrible, and just a reminder how life is so incredibly precious and fragile. But please give to authorized organizations. I have heard about some misuse of funds. Make sure that they are legitimate, and you're using funds like Red Cross, etc. And we will have a moment of silence in a minute, but I also want to say yesterday, Councilor McGinnis said, are we doing anything, is anything being done for 9/11? And I 2 years ago was the 20th anniversary, and our fire department did do a beautiful ceremony. But I'm sure all of you think about 9/11 very much in the morning, and where was I? You pause and you think about it. But I really started to think about 9/12, and I remember when yesterday, 22 years ago, the sky, do you remember that blue, just the brightest shade of blue that you could imagine? And then all of a sudden, it was filled with smoke, shock, fear, grief. 2,977 people were killed by 19 terrorists, the deadliest attack in the United States history on our soil. It changed it changed us, and we mourn what could have been. And but I think about, and so I thought about today and that morning after, and the amount of loss that our country experienced, and personally, but I was really focused, I don't know if anyone saw 60 Minutes last night, but they were talking about the impact on the New York Fire Department. And if 343 New York firefighters lives were lost, almost half of the firefighters that answered the call, and to save 17,000 lives. And I got such chills because they said that people were calling dispatch so urgently to have their lives saved, and they said, and all the dispatchers would say is, we're coming for you. And so when the firefighters would answer, and they would hug each other, and they would run up those buildings. And it was the firefighters, the police, the dispatchers, the ambulance drivers, all of them so incredibly impacted, and the bravery, and then the tremendous sadness that started after it. It just, this is embedded in our lives and their lives. And there were so many brothers and fathers and sons and fathers that were both, looking for each other and experiencing so much. So, but I also remember sending my kids off to school the morning at 9/12, and it was such a fear of what the world was going to be and what was ahead. And I just remember those teachers, and again, I'm going to cry a little bit, how they brought so much positivity, warmth, and comfort to our children, and how they wrapped them in their arms and told them stories and distracted them and went off their agendas that they had for the day to make sure that our kids were feeling mentally healthy and there, and we're such an important source of positivity and strength, and how they put their own fears and grief aside to teach, support, and love our children. And so I'm so grateful for all of these people that step into really challenging positions and jobs and do what they need to do to serve the public, whether it is, firefighters, public works, our school teachers. They make our lives better. And so we cannot forget that. And I just hope that we're all can be grateful for that in memory, the memory of the tragedies. So, all right. And I don't think we need to do it moment of silence. I've been talking, and we'll just give 5 seconds of just a moment of peace. Thank you all. All right, number 4, Mr. Sweeney. Oh, public forum, sorry, Mr. Dodge, Dr. Dodge. No. Okay, there's nobody that signed up to speak. Is there anybody that would like to speak to anything on the agenda? Okay. Number 4, Mr. Sweeney.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Madam Mayor, without objection, I move that items 5A, 7B, 7C, 7H, 10A, and 10B are placed on the consent calendar.
Is there any objection? Hearing no objection, the items are placed on consent. Mr. Sweeney?
Madam Mayor, I move adoption of the consent calendar.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Number 7, Mr. Sweeney.
Yes, Madam Mayor, without objection, I move that we receive the application and refer it to the Design Review Advisory Committee, Town Plan and Zoning Commission, the Capital Regional Council of Governments, and the Town of Bloomfield for their required review and set for public hearing of the application of Trout Brook Realty Advisors for a public hearing on October 24th, 2023 at 6:30 p.m. Is there any objection?
Is a second? Was that? Oh, I'm sorry. Is there any objection? There being no objection, the motion is adopted. We will go to number D, or letter D.
Or we're just receiving it.
I'm sorry.
We're just receiving it. Yep. You're good. Madam Mayor, I make a motion to adopt the resolution appropriating an assistance to firefighter grant awarded to the town of West Hartford by the Federal Emergency Management Agency.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Mr. Ledwith?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. In late July, FEMA awarded the town of West Hartford and the city of New Britain a joint assistance to firefighter grant in the amount of $365,745.45. As a condition of this award, the town is required to be the host community and is required to contribute $36,574. 50% of that, $18,000 paid by the town of West Hartford and the other $18,000 paid by the city of New Britain, bringing the total budget for this award to $402,000. The grant will provide funding for 16 fire personnel to attend 2 certification classes, a rope rescue operations level course, and a man versus machine classroom and practical training course, along with the textbook expenses and personnel costs to cover overtime for the training. We want to take a moment to thank our federal delegation, Congressman Larson and Senators Blumenthal and Murphy, for their support in helping us receive this important FEMA grant award. And through you, Madam Mayor, I turn it back to the council for any questions that you had.
Thank you, Mr. Ledwith. Are there any comments or questions on this grant? All right. With that, we will have all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Letter E, Mr. Sweeney.
Yes, Madam Mayor, I make a motion to adopt a resolution approving collective bargaining agreement with CSEA, SEIU Local 2001 Grounds Maintenance Unit for the period of July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2025.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Mr. Ledwith?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I will ask our Director of Human Resources, Kathy Lombardi, and Director of Public Works, John Phillips, to join us at the table. This is a resolution to approve a collective bargaining agreement that has been negotiated by both Kathy and John, as well as our outside counsel, Ken Weinstock. So the grounds maintenance unit, we are in negotiations with 6 different bargaining units right now, and the grounds maintenance unit is one of those 6, and the first of the 6 to ratify a agreement. And this one, and I'll let Kathy and John talk through a little bit of the details, was a little bit more complicated than our average negotiation with this particular group, and I'll provide a little bit of context to that. So our grounds maintenance union is half of, so we have about 20 individuals that are covered under this union. Half of that unit works directly for the Department of Public Works. The other half works for both leisure services and parking. And they were combined under one bargaining unit, compensated fairly equally among that bargaining unit. But half of that unit works, as I stated, in the Department of Public Works, and they work alongside our streets division. West Hartford is very unique in that we have 2 separate bargaining units covering employees within the Department of Public Works who do like work every day in and day out. Our streets union has always been generally compensated at a higher level than our grounds maintenance union. And again, that grounds maintenance union was associated with the other half, the leisure services and the parking unit. So the agreement that that our team has negotiated will now equalize half of that unit. So the grounds maintenance unit that works for the Department of Public Works will be equalized with the streets unit. That's something that we've been trying to do over several contracts. And the team was able to negotiate a very fair package for the town that allowed us to equalize those wages. At the same time, both bargaining units, or both halves of the bargaining unit, agreed to significant healthcare reform, in that employees, new hires, would be responsible for contributing a significantly higher proportion of contributions to their healthcare than than existing employees. So, for example, right now, employees contribute 20% towards their healthcare costs, but it's capped at 5.25% of their base wages. That cap will go away for new hires. That will result in about a 40% increase in contributions for employees who have employee plus 1 coverage, and about a 70% increase in contributions for employees who have family coverage. In addition, all new hires will be required to fully fund the contribution for dependent retiree health care. So that will significantly reduce future healthcare liabilities under our retiree healthcare obligations. So 2 significant changes from a healthcare perspective to help offset that equalization that would occur between half the unit and the streets unit. It is a 4-year agreement, and I'll let, at this point, through you, Madam Mayor, I'll turn it over to our Director of Human Resources, Kathy, who can give a little bit more background on the process, and then John can supplement that as well.
The council. So the grounds bargaining unit is comprised, as Rick said, of 3 different groups that consists of the grounds, which is under John, the golf course and leisure employees who are under Helen Rubino Turco, and the parking unit, which also is under Public Works, overseen by Brooke Nelson. So that's a total of 19 members. Within that group, there's different levels of skills, and as Rick mentioned, one of the topics of discussion that's been on the table for quite some time is to try and bring those grounds workers' salaries up to equal with the streets employees, since they perform the same functions as the employees in the streets division. They hold a CDL license and they're on call 24/7. This was a topic that the union itself brought to us with a lot of importance to trying to correct the situation. We started our negotiations in October of 2022. We had a total of 9 meetings, and we concluded this year in May with the agreement that we have before you. So one of the suggestions that we worked on was to equalize the pay through a compressed wage scale. And we had a lot of senior employees in the department, so we pushed it to a 3-level scale. And John can talk a little bit more in detail about that part of the negotiation, and then we'll talk about the other changes in the medical and the retiree health.
Good evening, Council. John Phillips, Director of Public Works. So it was a long process, going back to last fall, getting to this point. The biggest thing it does recognize is recognizing the work that the men and women of the grounds, the CSEA grounds bargaining unit contribute to the Public Works mission, and their counterparts in the ASME bargaining unit mission. And again, for the record, the best analogy I can use is just plowing a snowstorm, Trout Brook Drive. You have an ASME bargaining unit plowing the truck with all the apparatus that's in that truck, and you have the SEIU bargaining unit doing this very exact same thing, yet there is a significant pay difference in delivering those skills to the services that the community deserves. That's just one small example, but I think it's one a lot of us can relate to, that they really do the same work. But for decades, since they were moved into Public Works in the early part of the 90s, the pay was always been a disparity between the two bargaining units. And as we enter into 2023 and beyond, as we have struggles with trying to find and recruit skilled people to come into the Public Works industry, we have challenges with finding supplemental contracts to supplement our work, to backfill where we're just not large enough to continue to do the work that we have for the town. This is probably one of the last bricks of that silo of managing two separate and distinct bargaining units, but doing the same mission for the town of West Hartford. So I think this solves that issue, but still protects and recognizes and respects the other bargaining unit members for those skilled work that they provide their divisions. But unfortunately, it's just not at the same level that the first responding application of a Public Works mission is. So it's very respectful in that vein. As far as suppressing the pay scale, again, this was a staple issue for me as a director in managing, operationally speaking. Again, it goes towards recruitment. Now, majority of our employees are at the senior level of their pay scale, so it doesn't have a real big fiscal impact on us. But bringing a professional from entry level higher to their professional pay scale quicker is enticing to recruit. Gets them there faster than waiting 8 years to get the professional wage that they seek to earn. But one of the trade-offs there, we were able to achieve a 12-month probationary period from 6 months, and I thought that was a significant trade-off and balance. Again, considering the fiscal impact is minimal because most employees already are at the top of the scale, but looking towards the future, the professionals that we're able to recruit in will get to that professional level faster in 3 years, but getting that first year of probationary period, I think, is significant to learning about who that professional is that comes into Public Works, with dealing with multiple seasons and working in an environment that we work in as a Public Works entity, as well as the other divisions that they work in. And as Kathy alluded to, we were able to, and again through Rick's direction, achieve significant savings on the cost savings of healthcare and retiree health and other small little tweaks as far as compensation for time off, things like that. So it feels a good contract. It was a good experience for both parties, I think. I think the bargaining unit would say the same thing, that they had a good experience through this process. High levels of respect went back and forth to both of us to land where we are. But it did take a while, but we're appreciative of the effort, and we think it's a fair contract moving forward.
So one of the trade-offs that we had to negotiate was because of the other employees in that group who worked in leisure services. So with these ground staff, there is no retro pay. They'll just be equalized as of July 1st. The leisure services group, we are giving them a 2.5% increase for 20 and 21, and then they will also have a compressed 3-step wage scale, which again contributes to attracting people to be able to come and move up and get to the top of the scale quicker. So that, and we also gave them a stipend for this contract of $1,000, and that will be paid in 2 installments. Just to reiterate on the insurance, we eliminated the cap for all new hires, which will result in a cost savings over time for the town, along with the retiree medical insurance change. for the employee paying 50% of the cost of coverage and 100% for the dependent. So we see those as really great exchanges to come to an agreement that serves both the employee and the town well.
And if I may add on that, the new hire health benefits, we're going to see real savings that immediately because we're in the process now of onboarding 3 employees that will start after the start date that's within this contract, and they'll fall under this new insurance scale, so there'll be immediate benefit towards that, and really breaks a ceiling in the healthcare area for these employees, and puts us in, and just really revamps it, as Rick said, really changes everything on how we distribute the contributions for our healthcare. But with the 3 new employees, we'll see immediate benefits when we onboard them later this fall.
Thank you both for the presentation, and just one final closing statement by myself before we turn it over to Madam Mayor and the council for any questions. I just want to take a moment to thank Kathy and John for their leadership and steadfast approach through this long negotiation process on agreement that we feel is fair to the town and as importantly fair to the members of this unit. And this is a unit that I just have a deep appreciation for what they do, and I know we all do. They are a 24/7 operation. They are public safety. They, Friday night when that storm came through town and dropped a bunch of trees, John was on the phone calling people back to work, a couple of hours after they got home to be with their families. July 16th, July 4th, in the middle of their wet picnics, they had to come in as we saw some significant flooding occur throughout town, and certainly all winter long we appreciate the work that they do to keep our community safe and clean, and and even on those real sunny days when we're driving around town and it's a beautiful day, you can just see the work that they do just right here at Town Hall. It's a very, very beautiful town, well maintained, well taken care of. And it's because of the group that works so hard and takes so much pride in the work they do to maintain that level of service for our community. So big thanks to them. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick. That's so well said. And I'll make some comments at the end. But thank you very much for the hard work. Really, this is, I think, a great product. Okay, we'll start with Ben Winograd.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As chair of the committee, Public Works Committee, we talk a lot about the numbers, but I want to thank you too, of course, for your work on this, but I also want to echo what Rick said about the respect we all have for the bargaining unit. I want to also thank the union for its role in these negotiations and for the members for all the amazing work they do. We did have, I was at a blackout. We lost power that night, and we had a couple trees down in my neighborhood. And long before, and they did a great job, electric company doing repairs, but long before they came, and while there was still, thunder and lightning going on, your guys were there, blocking off the street and getting it ready for when they were able to eventually come down and fix the line. So absolutely, it's, we deepest respect for all our employees in town, but again, these members are ones that don't often get the accolades that they deserve. So thank you to that group for all your work.
Thank you, Mr. Winograd. Anybody on? No? Okay. Mr. Sweeney.
Yep. Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you for the presentation. I just wanted to state that we had a workshop prior to this. It was very informative. We had the council had an opportunity to ask questions about what is being presented here tonight, and there was a general understanding of this is the right thing to do. The town manager talked through how this is a process that we're moving forward with, and how this, as he described earlier, that there was a setup that needed to be fixed, and I believe that this is the right fix going forward, and we appreciate the team's work on making this happen, and I look forward to supporting this.
Thank you, Mr. Sweeney. Ms. Blanks.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you again to both you, Kathy and John. It's a beautiful thing when you can work together collaboratively and meet in the middle. A lot of times compromise goes a long way. And just to echo what Councilor Winograd said, I know the unions come in and they give it their best effort, and they really do a good job of that. And then on the town side, you want to also represent the town in the most meaningful way and bring that same thing to the table. So just, echo and kudos to you all for really sitting down and having the patience, the time, and the respect of all sides to really strike a beautiful agreement, and one that I do plan on supporting. And I also do want to echo the great and terrific work that the Public Works team do. Often, since I chair public safety, I commend our men and women in blue, but Public Works, they also need the commendation because they're always there no matter what, even if it's an accident, a storm. During our winter months, West Hartford is always one of those towns where the cleanup is far more than any other town. You don't have to worry about getting to work on time because you hear them in the middle of the morning doing the cleanup. And that's really attributed to your leadership, John, and what you really represent for your team and how you also represent them at the table. So to both of you, I just want to say thank you for your hard work, and it does not go unnoticed.
Thank you, Councilor Blanks. Councilor Fay?
Yes, thank you very much, Mayor Cantor. For those of you who are observing us, wondering why we're not asking a bunch of questions, we did have a closed session before this where we got to ask all our questions and get them clarified. I always want to do as best we can for our employees, but also for our taxpayers. So I think this was a good give and take. It's been a while coming. I think we're, a year past when we should have had this contract done. I think it's straightening out a lot of things that, what did I say? I'm sorry. I'm a little distracted tonight. But I think, that this is the best that we can do, and I think it's a fair agreement. And I think we are setting ourselves up. My professional experience was retirement plans and healthcare plans, and I think going forward for new employees, we're going to get the mix better. Now, obviously, I'm come from the private sector, so I have a completely different view. I still think a lot of the contracts, we can still kind of do a little bit more hammering to get them a little more in line with the private sector. But see that this is the best that we can do at this juncture. I think I will be supporting this. I know I will be supporting this. And thank you for your work on this.
Thank you, Ms. Fay. Anybody else? Mr. Cortez.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I often talk about right-sizing government, and people interpret it, however way they want. But this is one of the things. This is a way of right-sizing government. We need to be competitive with other towns and municipalities. We are. Everybody has shortage of employees since the pandemic, and it's hard to get back to where we need to with staffing levels. And this puts us in that line in that direction. And then unsung heroes, I always mention that a lot too, and we forget Public Works are those unsung heroes. When we have a natural disaster and we're at home comfortable and don't want to deal with the stuff out there, these employees don't have that choice. I'm waiting for them to clear the roads, to ensure that I can go to the supermarket or gas station or whatever, and they don't get enough credit, So they are the unsung heroes here, and I'm glad that we were all able to come to an agreement. Thank you for everything you guys did.
Thank you, Councilor Cortez. Anybody else? Sounds like we have an ATV fest outside. Hi.
Where's the officer?
So, okay. So I'll just close by, so much was said, and I can't, it's hard to put into words how grateful we are for the work that your department does, John, and your leadership, inspiring, and in your workers, supporting them and training them, and they are the best. They're so professional. They value what they do. They are proud of the product that they give back to the town. And I know it's gotten harder. It's gotten harder to recruit people. It's gotten harder to keep people. It's competitive, and this is and treating people fairly. and equitably is critical. And so it's the right thing to do. This is absolutely the balance that I think we all need. And the 1-year probation is a good compromise to manage the high quality people that I think the town requires, but you also demand of your people. So I want to thank the union. I want to thank all of the men and women in your department, mostly men. But how, and just really express how grateful we are for the quality of life. West Hartford would not have the quality of life without the workers that are in your department, and thank you for your leadership. And with that, we will go to a vote. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations and thank you. All right. We will go to F. Mr. Sweeney.
Madam Mayor, I make a motion to adopt the resolution authorizing the town manager to participate in the Brownfield Municipal Grant Program to support the environmental remediation and redevelopment of 1244 North Main Street.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Mr. Ledwith.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We're excited to talk about this resolution as this will authorize the town to participate in the Connecticut Department of Economic and Community Development Municipal Brownfield Grant Program with the potential developer of 1244 North Main Street, who will be proposing a redevelopment of the former synagogue located on this 1.83 acre parcel. The application for this development was received and referred by the council for a public hearing next month. The Brownfield grant, should the town receive it, would be the third Brownfield grant awarded to the town over the last 18 months, following 900 Farmington Avenue and the former Puritan site located on New Britain Avenue. Our application for this development would total $670,000 to assist with remediation costs. The town would be the recipient for these grant funds, and then we would pass the grant funds along to the developer. Applications for the grant are due by noon on Friday, September 22nd, and DECD expects to make the award announcements in early December of this year. I do want to extend a big thank you to Kristen Gorski, who heads up our Economic Development Division, for all of her hard work on this grant, as well as the other two that we were awarded within the last 18 months. Kristen is also very, very steadfast and overturning every rock we can to find grants that businesses and potential businesses would be eligible for here in town. So appreciate her hard work as always. Through you, Madam Mayor, happy to answer any questions that the council had.
Thank you, Mr. Ledwith, and I also want to thank Kristen for her tireless work on looking for the opportunities and seizing upon them, and making sure that we are at the, in the circle to try to get that. And she's been really successful. So, any comments or questions for the town manager on this? All right, seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. G, Mr. Sweeney.
Yes, Madam Mayor, make a motion to adopt a resolution amending the fiscal year 2023-2024 Community Development Block Grant budgeted by appropriating the prior year unexpended grants funds and unallocated public-private partnership funds.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Mr. Ledwith.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This resolution is really an annual administrative resolution that allows the town to carry forward and appropriate community development block grant funds from last fiscal year to this fiscal year. This year, that amount totaled almost $1.5 million in projects that will be completed in this fiscal year, including the Kennedy Park Bathhouse, the Glover Park Playscapes, windows for Hebrew Life Choice, and an elevator for the West Hartford Fellowship Housing Project. Again, this is a fairly routine administrative matter that we do annually, and through you, Madam Mayor, I'm happy to answer any questions that the council had.
Thank you, Mr. Ledwith. Are there any questions on this? We discuss it periodically, so. All right, seeing no questions, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. And now we go to the report from the town manager. Mr. Ledwith.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Start with upcoming council business and meetings. We do have a Public Works Facilities and Sustainability Committee meeting on Thursday, September 14th of this week at 6 p.m. That will be a virtual meeting. We have a Human and Community Services Committee meeting on Monday, September 18th at noon. That's a virtual meeting as well. And then we have a community planning and economic development meeting on Wednesday, September 20th at 8 a.m. That's a virtual meeting as well. And our next town council meeting is Tuesday, September 26th at 7:30 p.m. Want to mention the Vision Zero survey web map and public meeting that will be taking place. The public is invited to participate in a 5-minute survey and to leave comments on an interactive web map and attend a public meeting to help West Hartford's Vision Zero's task force identify roadways that have safety issues. The information collected from these public engagements will be key to developing a Vision Zero action plan that will serve as a guide for the next 10 years. The survey is available in English, Spanish, Portuguese, and Chinese. In addition to the online survey, printed surveys may be obtained from the Town Hall lobby, customer service desk, or at any of the 3 public libraries. The document may also be found online and downloaded from our website. The public is invited to leave comments on the interactive map on locations where they feel safe or unsafe or have suggestions for safety improvements. Participants will be able to see and like other comments. If you haven't had a chance, take a look at the map. It is quite the active map right now. So a lot of useful feedback being received from our residents. The survey and web map will be open until 4 p.m. on Tuesday, October 3rd. The first of 2 public meetings on our Vision Zero action plan will be held on Tuesday, September 19th from 5:30 to 7:30 in the Town Hall auditorium. The public is invited to learn about West Hartford's efforts to make its streets safer with the goal of eliminating all roadway fatalities and serious injuries within the next 10 years. The public meeting includes a presentation and an opportunity to take the survey and offer comments. The town's Vision Zero webpage provides more information on this upcoming event. Our 3rd round of street paving is underway, and this is the final round of 2023. Streets that will be resurfaced include New Park Avenue from Prospect Avenue to West Hartford Place Driveway, Reed Avenue, Talcott Road from New Park Avenue to Grassmere Avenue, Toll Street, Vanderbilt Avenue, Quaker Lane South from Talcott Road to Flatbush Avenue. We will be holding our first annual walk in the park Saturday, September 30th. Friends of West Hartford Parks will host its first annual walk in the park on Saturday, September 30th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Learn about the history of the Trout Brook and stroll along this newly completed linear park that stretches from New Park Avenue to Duffield Street. We will explore a portion of the trail, a loop starting at Norfelt Field and continuing to the new stretch at Duffield Street and back. This is a free, family-friendly event. Pre-registration is encouraged through Eventbrite, which again is found on our website. The rain date will be the following day, Sunday, October 1st. That concludes my report this evening, Madam Mayor, and turn it back to you and to the council for any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Ledwith. Are there questions for the town manager? Oh, yes, Ms. Fay.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Cantor. Mr. Ledwith, what's the ultimate plan for that trail? It's beautiful. I go by it all the time. It's right near my house. Duffield's not too far. Is it going to go to Asylum or past there? Or Thank you.
Thank you, through you, Madam Mayor, to Councilor Fay. So Phase 6 is just about done. Should be actually open for by the end of the month, and that is from Fern Street to Duffield. Phase 7 will be constructed later this fall, and that will be Duffield to Asylum. And then, depending on what happens with the Yukon campus, we've had some preliminary conversations with the developer about continuing that trail north across the former Yukon property. And someday we'd like to connect that trail even further north into Bloomfield. So we do have one phase remaining. So right now from New Park Avenue, New Britain Avenue, you can go north to Jackson Avenue, and then phase 3 of the Trout Brook Trail project is from Jackson Avenue to Park, and that will take place next year. So that's the final phase of the 7-phase project. So almost there. So. Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Fay. And just to build on that, that was something I actually wanted to mention to Public Works because have done a phenomenal job. And before it was done, I saw people, I actually went on it myself too, but it is really magnificent. And I've gotten a lot of positive feedback. I think we all have on that. So anything else from Mr. Ledwith? Okay. Mr. Dodge, Corporation Counsel report.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have no formal report this evening, and we do not require an executive session.
Thank you, Mr. Dodge. Are there any questions for Corporation Counsel? Okay. Hearing none, we will go to announcements. I have a couple. Today, actually, was the West Hartford Police Department was celebrating National Police Women's Day. We have 18 female officers that protect and serve our community. And there was also a comment on their their social media that we encourage more women, and please apply because we're hiring. So, but one of the things I wanted to mention is that the welcomeness and the success of the women officers are largely are due to our leadership and also the men in the police force. And I want to thank everybody for their commitment to making each and every police officer successful and productive, and it takes everyone. So thank you all. I also want to mention Councilor Blanks and I joined a delegation from South Korea in the fire department today, this afternoon, to talk about fire response, inspection, investigation. There was a little bit of there was a lot of talk. There were a lot of, it took a little while to interpret and get some messages, but it was fascinating, and very proud of our fire department, and they were very interested in a lot of the way that we handle things, and we had questions for them as well, and it was really wonderful experience. And it really is a very rewarding experience when you have a delegation from another country come and meet your team and talk about it. And we actually have an Albanian a team coming in of mayors, I think, right? So, next week, I think. But yes, it's always an interesting day. We are really proud of all of our schools. But our high schools are measured in a different way, and both Conard and Hall High Schools were once again ranked among the top schools in Connecticut and in the top 3% nationally in 2023 U.S. News and World Report ranking of the country's public high schools. The rankings for Hall and Conard have been nearly identical over the years. This year, Conard leapfrogged over Hall. They do change though. So Conard came in at 10 and up from number 14, and up from 14. Hall moved up one place to number 11 among all public high schools in Connecticut from number 12 in 2022. So we're really, really proud of all of the teachers and that make a difference and help students every day achieve the kind of success that our high schools do. The 11th Annual Firefighters Grill and Beer Tasting for Muscular Dystrophy will take place on September 23rd. This is the 11th Annual Grill and Beer Tasting on Saturday, and this charitable event benefits Muscular Dystrophy Association will take place right in front on Town Hall from 5 to 9. It's $20. Attendees will receive 10 2-ounce sample cups of beer from around the world. In addition, the attendees may purchase food from 3 food trucks and enjoy live entertainment by JMG Music. It's a really great event and for a great cause. Electric Showcase, September 24th, 2023. This West Hartford Clean Energy Commission, Sierra Club of Connecticut, and PACE will host an electric showcase featuring vehicles, bicycles, lawn care equipment, and more on Sunday, September 24th. From 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Town Hall parking lot. And this is a free event. Come learn from experienced owners and dealers on why they are enthusiastic about these electric vehicles and equipment. Blueback Burger Bash, it's not easy to say, September 28th and 2023 will take place from 5 to 7. Each restaurant will provide a signature slider burger, and guests can vote for their favorite. Participating restaurants include World of Beer, Place to Be, Gran Gusto, Rosa Mexicano, and Baccaria. That's the first that we've had of them. Enjoy music, celebrity judges, and more. Each vote will have a chance to win a $250 gift card to the restaurant of your choice. The event is free to attend, but to sample, a suggested donation is recommended. Proceeds benefit Connecticut Food Share. To pre-register, it will be a link on our website. Sampling tickets will also be sold at the door. Comedy Night to benefit Park Road Parade, October 3rd. Park Road Association invites you to this event on Tuesday, October 3rd at 7:30 p.m. at the Playhouse. The event features comedians Jody Sloan and Rob Sheen. Tickets are $27.50 and include complimentary food and drink. To purchase tickets, call the box office or visit their website. Go the Extra Mile race, and the fundraiser is for Park Road Parade, which takes place on October 7th. And there is a race. Go, how fast can you run a mile? Find out by running the inaugural Go the Extra Mile road race to help kick off the Park Road Parade. The out and back race begins at the corner of Park Road and Quaker Lane near Halls Market. The overall male and female winners will be crowned King and Queen of Park Road and get to ride in the parade. The race is $20. Ronnie, go for it. Race fee is $20, and proceeds benefit the Park Road Parade. And there's also a link to sign up. And then sign up to be in the Park Road Parade. That will take place again on Saturday, October 7th. And there was a link on the website. Are there any other announcements? Mr. Cortez, do you have any?
So on September 28th, we get our first delivery of pumpkins at West Hartford United Methodist Church, located just before West Farms Mall. We get a tractor trailer load of about 2,500 pumpkins from a Navajo tribe over in New Mexico. So it's just amazing to see everything that these pumpkins do, you know, as far as how we're supporting the Navajo tribe in New Mexico with some of the funds that comes from these pumpkins, and then how the money from these pumpkins go right back into the community and to the youth group that go out on missions throughout the summer. So again, you know, great way to support many causes is these pumpkins that will be out there for the month of October, starting September 29th through the month of October. And if you have nothing to do on September 28th at 4 p.m., stop by and grab a pumpkin or two off the tractor trailer. Many hands do make light work. And I mean, if it's all it is a pumpkin or two, I will welcome all the help from everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cortez. Ms. Pullen.
Yes, thank you. Just an announcement that West Hartford Reads is going to be sponsoring the author Nick Hornby. He'll be coming to town on October 12th at 7 p.m. at King Philip Middle School. Nick Hornby is a prolific author of books and screenplays. I started trying to read some of his work this summer when I found out he was coming to town, and it's just overwhelming how many different choices there are to read. But the reason I'm bringing this up tonight is that ticket distribution will occur next Tuesday, September 19th at the Noah Webster Library on the adult floor from 6 to 8 p.m. So if you're interested in going to the Nick Hornby event, that's how you get your ticket, next Tuesday from 6 to 8 and at the main Noah Webster Library.
Thank you, Ms. Pullen, and he is a really wonderful author. High Fidelity is just one of my favorites, but he's great. Is there anything else for announcements? Mr. Cortez.
Also, I want to just remind everyone that our food pantry is always in need. 12 months a year, 365 days. Food insecurity is, since the pandemic, we see that, it's bigger than what we think, even in a town like West Hartford. So I encourage everyone to either do a food drive of your own or just stop by, the food pantry here and donate items, or call up and say, hey, what can we bring? They'll be thankful for anything. I mean, our food pantry is always looking for donations.
Mr. Cortez, you're so right, and we always think of it sometimes as holiday times only, but it's actually all the time, so really important. All right, is that it for announcements? Just one final close before we adjourn. Wishing all my my Jewish friends and our Jewish community a happy and healthy New Year. Lashana Tova. All right, and with that, make a motion to adjourn. Any objection? Seeing no objection, we are now adjourned. Thank you.